Now we have taught thee the inspired. Follow the ways of Abraham, the true in faith, and he joined not gods with Allah. Quran chapter 16 verse 123, reminding the Muslim Ummah of a rare demonstration of total submission to the will of Almighty Allah as demonstrated by Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. This singular act of obedience by Prophet Ibrahim is commemorated annually on the 10th day of Zulhijjah, the last month in the Islamic calendar. Considered the holier of the two major festivals in Islam, Eid al-Adha honors the willingness of Prophet Ibrahim to embark on the ultimate sacrifice, a period of reflection, glorification, and sacrifice with adherents expected to be their brother's keeper in the true sense of the word. It is that time again when Muslims the world over observe this celebration, also known as the Feast of Sacrifice. This special edition of Dateline 360 takes a closer look at Eid al-Adha, activities heralding it, the significance and lessons, as well as application in today's Nigeria. Welcome on board. I'm Hawa Salihu Adam. Be it the secular or religious world, total submission to constituted authority, otherwise known as loyalty, is key. This is Dateline 360. Thanks for rejoining us on this special edition focusing on the commemoration of a rare demonstration of submission to the will of Almighty Allah by Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, which has resulted to what Muslims today know as the Feast of Sacrifice. We start the program with Abdullahi Garba Brinin Kudu, who puts this celebration, which comes immediately after the conclusion of a major pillar of Islam, the Hajj.
أيها المسلمون عندما شرع الله لنا الأضحية على آله وأصحابه ومن والاه.
When Hawa quoting from the Holy Quran, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam was a good example of obedience to Allah. By nature upright, he was not politist. We guided him and we chose him, and he followed the right path.
The origin of Eid al-Adha signifies the virtues of obedience, sacrifice, perseverance, and uprightness, as exemplified by Prophet Ibrahim, which he dreamt that Allah commanded him to sacrifice his son Ismail, and both obliged, and for Ismail to be replaced with a ram.
Just informing him, son, I had a dream. In my dream last night, I saw as if I was slaughtering you in my dream. A total submissive child. And this is a good lesson for every children of the world. We must submit totally to our parents. Not only the fathers, both fathers and mothers, we must be very, very submissive to them unconditionally. The father was highly submissive to the will of Allah. The son is also what? Highly submissive to the request of his father. Then, while they were going, Iblis, the cursed Satan, Shaitan, appealed to Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. You want to slaughter your first child? Are you crazy? Don't do this. That's ordinary dream. That's ordinary dream. It's not a real revelation from God. Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam said, go away from me. Took a pebble and do what? Threw it to him.
The period of the sacrifice, 10th day of Zulhijjah in the Islamic calendar, is significant in Muslims' life as it marks the end of yearly holy pilgrimage, which also traces its origin from the Prophet Ibrahim and his wife Hajra.
One of the lessons of Hajj and one of the rites of Hajj is the Safa and Marwa, that we go between the two mounts of Safa and Marwa, which actually is celebrating a woman. You know, is celebrating Hajar, celebrating her faith in Allah and also her effort, that she actually put in effort. She didn't sit in one place when she know her son was thirsty, they needed food. No, she went from from mount to mount, running between Safa and Marwa. A woman, hundreds and hundreds of years ago in the deserts of Arabia.
But beyond merrymaking and sacrifice rituals being observed by Muslims, there are more to it according to scholars.
Let us always fulfill our promises. The promise you cannot, you won't be able to fulfill. Don't make it. If you make promise, you will do this and that. Look at our politicians. That's another problem they have. Most of the politicians, I'm not saying all.
The 2017 Eid al-Adha is coming at a time when Nigeria and Nigerians are going through some of the trying moments economically and socially. Scholars believe there is no better time than now for Nigerians to reflect on the lessons of Eid al-Adha, which emphasizes obedience to constituted authority.
We use the Eid celebration to remember what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to do in this time of this situation where we find ourselves as the celebration time.
We love to complain in Nigeria. We complain a lot. But if you compare our productivity, our productive hours of an average Nigerian worker, you compare it with the productivity of people from other countries who have progressed, you will see that we waste a lot of time, at work and all of that. So the spirit of effort, that we cannot sit in one place and pray only, but we have to work for it. We have to work for peace in our country.
As the Muslims observe the 2 rakat prayers and the sacrifice to mark the Eid al-Adha, the emphasis from Islamic scholars is to continue togetherness and love for one another, coupled with special prayers for Nigeria for its prosperity and peaceful coexistence. Reporting for Dateline Resistance, Abdullahi Garba.
Many thanks, Abdullahi. Togetherness and love for one another. The foundation of Islam demonstrated during the annual Hajj. Hajj, a pillar of Islam, mandatory for every adult male or female who is able, financially and otherwise, at least once in a lifetime. Since there cannot be Eid al-Adha without Hajj, we asked Ahmed Ambali, currently observing the Hajj, to guide us on this all-important event that herald the Eid al-Adha.
Of the 5 pillars of Islam, Hajj is the only one that is made compulsory at least once in the lifetime of the over 2 billion Muslims. Now, in performing Hajj, Muslims see this as a great opportunity for them not only to come closer to their Creator, but to fulfill an essential obligation of their religion.
Every year, millions of Muslims from over 150 countries attend the Hajj. The invitation to the annual spiritual gathering, scholars say, is from Almighty Allah alone. The fulfillment of a promise made to Ibrahim, the father of faith, kept over time and held in reverence by adherents. Though the Hajj is made compulsory for those with ability and means and established during the time of Prophet Muhammad, its origins date back. Pilgrims during Hajj retrace the unforgettable instances from the lives of Prophet Ibrahim, his wife Hajara, and their son Prophet Ismail, thus receiving the gratification of following the path of great prophets. Pilgrims circumambulate the Holy Kaaba in the center of the Grand Mosque in Mecca, which was rebuilt by Ibrahim and Ismail. They also run between Safa and Marwa mountains in commemoration of the run done by Hajara in search of water for her son Ismail when he was a little child. The recreation of these events seek to achieve a manifestation of human strength, perseverance, unity, and brotherhood.
We have people of diverse background, culture of heterogeneous type, from the ideologies are diverse, but we find ourselves, even the mode of the worship, you understand, some of us belong to certain denomination, but the beauty of the Hajj is that it provides one umbrella where we go to champion the cause of Allah, which is fulfilling our obligation amongst the 5 pillars of Islam.
As with all of the pillars of faith in Islam, Hajj has its own rules and guidelines. First, as a mandatory religious duty for Muslims that must be carried out at least once in their lifetime, adult Muslims who are physically and financially capable of undertaking the journey must make provisions to support their family during their absence.
He spends or she spends his or her money prudently. He doesn't cause inconvenience to others. He is not quarrelsome. He is not someone who will be the source of distraction to others. So all these are expected in a Muslim, especially the one who wants to perform Hajj.
The pilgrimage occurs from the 8th to 12th, or in some cases 13th of Dhul Hijjah, the last month of the Islamic calendar. Because the Islamic calendar is lunar and the Islamic year is about 11 days shorter than the Gregorian year, the Gregorian date of Hajj changes from year to year. The Arafat is the high point of this journey. On this plain, the pilgrim seeks Allah's forgiveness to cleanse his mind from sins and bequests his blessings in order to lead a better life in future for the benefit of not only himself, his family, and the community, but the whole of mankind.
If you now perform Hajj and you did not learn anything, your life is not changed, then you need to come again. You have not performed Hajj. You need to ask yourself.
Just as those on Hajj are blessed with the opportunity to turn to Allah, repent and come out as sinless as a newborn child, the ones not on Hajj also get a somewhat similar opportunity. Fasting, the day of Arafat, the Prophet tells Muslims, is an expiation for the sins of the previous year and an expiation for the sins of the coming year. As the Muslim world looks towards this year's Hajj, it behoves on faithful to reflect and strive to implement the advice and guidelines from the last sermon delivered by the Prophet on Mount Arafat many years ago. This, in essence, captures the very beauty of the religion of Islam and what the religion gives to the world. For Dateline 360, Ahmed Ambali from Makkah.
That last sermon of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the final admonition, truly captures the very essence of the religion of Islam, with lessons which Muslims need to overcome the vagaries of the current time. And still on activities that herald the feast of sacrifice, we now join Muhammad Ali for his piece on the silent rites.
Like every Muslim faithful, 56-year-old Bako Asu looks forward to Eid al-Adha or Eid al-Kabir with conviction, devotion, and hope of being able to sacrifice a ram, an act of worship that he started about 15 years ago.
I'm always happy to sacrifice a ram during the Eid al-Adha, although I have not been consistent because it sometimes came when I have no means.
There's no money to buy the ram, and it's not compulsory, so I've done that before.
Unlike the others, Muhammad Audubida has never missed sacrificing a ram since he started about 20 years ago.
Yeah, every year.
In the last 20 years?
Yes.
There are two categories of celebrants during the celebration: those on Hajj pilgrimage and those not on Hajj. Much as animal sacrifice is the most recognized feature on the day of Eid al-Adha, there are some other silent rituals that Muslim faithful are expected to observe before, during, and even after the Eid on that particular day. The first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah are considered the most blessed days of the year. As such, Muslim faithful are advised to fast the days, with that on the Arafat day for those not on Hajj being very significant.
Prophet of Islam sallallahu alaihi wasallam informed us that whoever fasts on the Arafat day, his sins will be forgiven for 2 years. That is the year that passed and the year that is coming ahead. So due to this significance and importance, it is encouraged for everybody, male and female, young and aged, to fast the day of Arafah.
Any faithful hoping to sacrifice an animal during the Eid al-Adha is not allowed to shave any part of his body or cut nails from the 1st of Dhul Hijjah until after the Eid on the 10th day. On the Eid day, ritual bath is to be performed and new clothing, if available, is to be worn, preferably colored ones, not white. Faithful do not take breakfast until after the Eid prayer, and for those sacrificing animals, it is expected of them to wait and eat from what they have slaughtered. It is preferable to trek to the Eid prayer ground, and specific prayers, takbirat, are continuously offered while on transit to and from the Eid ground. Different routes from the one taken to the Eid prayer ground is to be followed by faithful after the prayer. Sacrifices are not made until after the Eid prayer and when the Imam sacrifices his.
They should also forgive others who offended them, because that is the essence of sacrifice.
The 3 succeeding days after the Eid, that is the 11th, 12th, and 13th of Dhul Hijjah, are considered as the days of feasting. That is days of eating, drinking, as well as felicitating with other Muslims on the occasion of the Eid al-Adha. Reporting for Dateline 360, Mohammed Ali.
Shah Muhammad, days of feasting. And still staying with that aspect of the celebrations, Ismail Musa is on standby with his contribution, which focuses on the actual sacrifice of the animal and the guidelines.
Eid al-Adha is globally marked on the 10th of Zulhajj, and the central feature of this Islamic festive period is the sacrifice of animal. Though Islamically ram is preferred, Islamic scholars say cow, goat and camel are among animals prescribed for this sacrifice.
The animals that are suitable for sacrifice, one, it must reach the age, that is for sheep, minimum of 6 months and 1 year, and for goat, let it be 1 year, it will not be less than that. And for cow, let it be 2 years, and for camel, let it be 5 years and above. A one-eye animal cannot serve as the animal to do sacrifice with, and or the one having one leg, or that is not the way you can see, it's not that fit, it has no any fat in it, or it is sick physically, so it cannot do. And it has to be your property. Don't go and have it and have a stolen property and do sacrifice with it.
What is the period for this sacrifice?
The sacrifice period is on that 10th day of Zulhajj and 3 days coming. That is 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th.
Considering the highlighted benefits of this sacrifice, who is eligible to perform this sacrifice?
First and foremost, the first person that we must consider, that person has to be a Muslim. Secondly, he or she must be a free person. That is, it shouldn't be a slave cannot slaughter ram, either male or female.
She cannot do sacrifice.
No, at all. Then the third person is the person that has the means. Even either you are a Muslim, you are a free man, you are a free person, you must have a means. If you don't have a means, you cannot go and borrow money to slaughter ram. If you do that, it's no more sacrifice again. Allah will not even accept it from you. But if you have the means and you decide on your own not to slaughter ram, the Prophet of Allah has warned you that you shouldn't come near to his playing ground on that very day.
What is the position of Islam on what should be done with the meat after the sacrifice?
Well, Islamically, if you slaughter an animal, it is a duty to divide it into 3. 1 for you and members of your family, and the remaining 2 then to the needy and those who cannot be able to buy it at all. So that they will feel rejoiced the way you are rejoicing on that very day. So you cannot slaughter the ram and keep it within yourself and say you want to eat the whole thing.
You will not get the blessings.
You will not get the blessings. And that is the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad.
Aside the merriment that accompany this celebration, are there lessons attached to the sacrifice or the festive period?
One of the lessons that we derive from this scenario is that when you are calling upon Allah, you should have rest assured that Allah will answer you. Do not give up. Don't lose hope. That is why Allah says, "La taqnatu min rahmatillah, inna Allah yaghfiru dhunuba jami'a." That do not give hope. Continue calling me. Another lesson that we can learn from this is that we should be thanking Almighty Allah at all time.
With this knowledge, however, many Islamic faithful and myself are better prepared to perform the sacrifice. Ismail Musa, reporting for Dateline 360.
That's the spirit, Ismail, especially as it is not the meat nor blood that reach Allah, but the piety of the person making the sacrifice. And still on best practices as regards the celebration of the feast, Musa Toliad in Lagos, Nigeria's biggest cosmopolitan city, brings us to speed on the right way to mark the day.
Beyond purchasing and slaughtering sacrificial animals on the day of Eid, getting some adherents to comply with salient injunctions has remained a daunting task for scholars in various parts of the state.
The question is, as you put the knife at the neck of the ram, have you submitted your life? Have you surrendered your life to your Creator? That in a nutshell is the essence of the Eid that we celebrate.
On the day of Eid, Muslim faithful are enjoined to perform some prophetic deeds before proceeding to designated sites for Eid prayers.
We have prepared, day has come, is to also perform the ghusl, the ritual bath. Men, we put on our best, women put on their best, and we go for Eid. When we get to the praying ground, we keep on glorifying Allah. No nafil before the Salah to Eid, no nafil after Eid.
While some proceed to Eid grounds, it is common to see those who stay behind setting rams against one another before the termination of the Eid prayers.
It's forbidden. Prophet ﷺ has encouraged us that we should treat men and we should treat animals well. We should have mercy on those on earth, so that Allah SWT will have mercy on us.
Understanding the essence of Eid al-Adha ensures that injunctions meant to guide the faithful are strictly adhered to. However, in some parts of the metropolis, celebration of the Eid is taken beyond the limits.
Generally, Muslim celebration is guided by the Sunnah. You don't have Salah party or kind of fusion music or what have you in Islam. These are not acceptable. The Muslims celebrate the Eid because Eid itself is part of Ibadah.
Although sacrificial animals are expected to be divided into three when sharing formula comes into play, scholars say the rationale behind this action is to promote the spirit of giving and peaceful coexistence.
The Prophet said he is not a true believer. He that eats and fills his belly and his neighbor, sleeps with hunger. And that neighbor is not just about a Muslim. A neighbor can be a Muslim, can be a non-Muslim. So it means Islam is teaching us about welfareism, to show concern about those that live in our immediate environment. So the spirit of Eid al-Adha, transits just within the Muslims alone.
There are several lessons inherent in the celebration of Eid al-Adha which can be applied to the present situation in the country.
Prophet Ibrahim, the wife, the child, they work together in collaboration to please God, and God also now made all of them to be happy at the end. So the government, the citizen, family members, community, different group, we should work together towards making the nation, the world at large, to be more prosperous than what we are doing, rather than criticizing unconstructive.
All promise makers, are you politicians? Are you parents? Are you leaders, teachers? Wherever you are making promises, let us learn this lesson and fulfill our promises accordingly.
The watchword for the celebration, like other activities in Islam, remains moderation. Let's celebrate within the limits set by Allah so that our strivings during the Eid will be accepted as acts of worship. In Lagos for Dateline 360, I am Musa Tolian.
Moderation within the limits set by Allah all the time, Musa. An act even more important now that Nigeria is on a self-rediscovery mission, with everyone expected to live within realistic and available means. Submission to the will of Allah, scholars have emphasized, may not be total without obedience to constituted authority. As the Ummah exchange visits and gifts this period, the call is for intensified prayers for peace, prosperity, and unity of Nigeria. You can send us your pre- and post-Eid experience on our platforms, Dateline 360 at nta.ng or at NTA News Now. Thanks for keeping this special date. Eid Mubarak and bye for now.